Yo, BJ Gaddour with the BJ Gaddour podcast, and welcome to the 28-day Step-Ups Challenge. Whether you take part in this challenge or not, I'm going to give you a bunch of ways you can start incorporating the step-up into your current workout routine to do a variety of things, right? We're going to sculpt wheels of steel, grow your glutes anytime, anywhere, shred that winter blubber, because the step-up is a great combination of strength and cardio. It's also one of the most functional movements around. Just think about it. Stairs, hills, managing uneven terrain. We're going to improve your walk, run, hiking performance, and overall gait, your stride. So many great benefits to this. It's one of my favorite lower body exercises, period. But anytime you train your legs, anyone who knows that, you're also boosting metabolism, burning calories. It's a full body movement, and you will be shredding blubber, particularly belly fat. So before we get into this challenge, and again, just what to expect on this episode, I'm going to go through everything you need to know about step-ups in just 60 seconds. I'm going to talk about the variety of setups and equipment to get the most out of this challenge. Also I guess you call it the best step-up you're not doing. This is coming straight out of my own personal workout. I've been working as I'm getting ready for this challenge myself. I'm doing it with you. I love this type of stuff. And I'm going to be sharing that as well. We're going to be going through the 3 programming pathways that you can choose with this plan. I like to make it as inclusive as possible, right? You can make this your main focus, or you can just add this on to what you're currently doing. But I have follow along step up flows that take you through it from start to finish. I also have the other option, which is the 14-day EHO, or every hour on the hour kind of drip mobility rotation format, or just challenges. Maybe you start doing this with starters or finishers to your typical workout routine, and we'll finish off some other stuff as well. But first, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Much appreciated, helping us get that out to good people like you. And here's the reality, right? And I've already done a variety of topics on weight loss to start the year. People are looking to do that right after the holidays. They feel guilty because they ate like shit. They got out of typically their good winning habits they may have had early in the year, or maybe they've gone off that full year drop off after last New Year and they're going to get back on that train again. I want to help you break out of that eternal beginner cycle in 2024. And one way I want to kind of do that too, and again, check out my top 10 weight loss tips podcast we just did. Got great feedback on that. Everything I've learned about transforming my own body and then maintaining it for the last 20 plus years, and helping millions of people over the years, and sharing those ideas as well to get you started that way too. I also talk about 10 plus ways to lose weight, walking as well. Walking is a great way to start, kind of getting into things. Not a whole lot of commitments required, a daily walk. It doesn't take a whole lot of time or effort or equipment. You just get it in, but I did a video on that as well. But, ultimately, I want a new approach to fitness in this new year. Let's shift the focus from losing, and let's focus on gaining. And this is the type of thing that will allow you to do that. We're going to be gaining muscle, gaining strength, gaining conditioning, gaining mobility, and obviously gaining performance or enhancing performance. If you go into the new year and you just want to focus on losing weight, here's the reality of it. It's not a linear process. You're going to have ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, and it's not going to happen overnight. Even if you're taking drugs and pills and other shortcuts out there, right? The reality is it's so limiting to just say, I'm going to lose weight. What happens if you have a bad week? The scale didn't change. Well, it takes you in a mindset of, I failed this week. I'm going to quit, or this is not worth my time. When in reality, if you were, doing mobility every day, doing a daily walk, focusing on protein and produce 80% of the time, and you're feeling better, and you're, maybe you're losing, you're fitting better in your clothes, or just feeling more energy, but you didn't lose weight. Well, suddenly, you get depressed, or you get frustrated, or you get demoralized. And that's, again, why I want you to get the focus off of losing weight. Because the reality is, if you take on this 28-day challenge, and by the way, there's 3 main goals to this, all right? And to simplify it, right? We want to, we're going to shred that winter blubber. This is a great time to do this. I almost kind of call this the at-home stairmaster challenge. My favorite, by the way, if I'm going to pick one piece of cardio equipment to use at the gym, it's a stairmaster. I've had some of my best workouts ever on the stairmaster. And again, it can be as short as 10 to 20 minutes. I've done the full hour. Nothing torches more calories. And again, the benefit of step-ups over walking is that, walking's phenomenal, but it doesn't take your joints through a big range of motion, all right? And this is on YouTube, this is an active. I'm going to kind of talk and show when needed, right? A walk, we're moving our joints, but look at the bends, all right? Look at the bends in my ankles, my knees, and my hips. This is going to give you a big muscle building stimulus. And we talk about losing weight, right? Well, not just losing weight in the short term, but long term plus the maintenance piece of it. You want to increase your resting metabolic rate, the calories you burn, regardless of what you do. It means you can lay in your ass all day, you burn this many calories. As I've personally, about 6'2", 220, 225, and got leaner, more muscular over the years, my resting metabolic rate is probably somewhere between like 2,300 and 2,500 calories, meaning even if I don't move out of bed the whole day, I just lay in bed all day, I'm burning almost 2,500 calories because I'm a bigger, leaner, muscular individual. And it just makes it easier to maintain your weight and also accelerate weight loss in that process as well. So that's why with walking, anytime you go from doing nothing to something, it'll simulate some muscle growth. But walking has its limits, especially if you're not doing it with a weighted vest or intensifying it with other modes like we can talk about, moving into more running or hills or those types of things. But in the case of the step up, what is the step up? Just like it's like the hip dominant version of the lunge, right? A little more of a hip focus, but in reality, it is gait work. It's like walking, and people have these goals too, right? I'm going to get my 3, 5, or 10,000 plus steps a day. The reality is every step up you do is the equivalent of, depending on what type of step up, what type of load, intensity, speed, etc. It's got a huge metabolic multiplier, meaning it would take you probably 100 regular steps, walking steps, to equal 1 repetition of a step up. So we talk about getting the most bang for your buck, the highest return with the minimal time investment involved. So yeah, you can focus on steps, but honestly, like I'm more about not like, because what happens when you're like, get a pedometer, you're obsessed with the number of steps, and you find yourself at the end of the day, and you're going out there like, I've done this too, because you get too focused on the wrong things, right? It's all about putting in the time. Don't worry about the total number of steps. So I walk an hour a day, right? Some people like to track their 3, 5, 10,000 plus steps and get out a pedometer, but the reality is you're always looking at this pedometer. It can help you in the short term, but then, like I said, I found that I get too obsessive compulsive with it, and I found myself at the end of the day, like, it's kind of good in some ways, like, oh, I'm going to get my extra steps in, but I'm also like about to go to bed, and I'm like running in place to try to get my step totals. Again, I'm not trying to shit on anyone's approach. Whatever works for you, please do it. Some people need that support, accountability, and that tracking. But in the reality, you just got to put in the time. And again, if you're short on time, 20 minutes of step-ups will help you lose way more weight and burn way more fat and build way more muscle than 20 minutes of walking. It's basically like a strength version of walking. But again, because you're using these big leg, hip muscles, the biggest muscles in your body, big oxygen demand, big calorie burn, big metabolic boost. So that's what I'm trying to get you in your head here. Every rep of a step up has a 10 to 100 time metabolic return based on what type of step up you're doing, etc. So that's important as well, right? We want to really shape up those legs. Nothing wrong like that. I always love that motivation again, because especially talking longevity, talking, making this functional, right? Strong legs are really important as you get older, right? You lose mobility, you lose ability to get up and down. It's a great focus to have. And especially for men, which tend to be a little more upper body focused, get really top heavy, which is not good for your overall fitness and conditioning or your overall balance, stability. If anything, I think a lot of guys could use a little more lower body focus. I've been there where I was like super top heavy, could bench 400 pounds. And then I looked down at my legs and I'm like, oh, this doesn't match up. So I'm all about symmetry, proportion. Doesn't mean you don't train your upper body during this time, but let's give a little more love to those legs, because again, it's going to help. It's like the rising tide that floats all boats. A stronger, more shapely lower body can improve your overall fitness and conditioning extremely well. And then, there is an hour test here, right? At the end of this test, I want you to be able to do an hour of continuous step up. Something like that. That sounds crazy. Well, people run for an hour. I see this all the time. They do the stairmaster for the hour. Why can't you? Which, by the way, it's a $5,000+ piece of equipment. It always seems to be, if you go to the gym, there's always at least 1 or 2 stairmasters out of order. because people kind of put it through its paces, and it doesn't seem like a piece of equipment that it seems like it needs constant maintenance personally, especially in a commercial gym setting. But on a stairmaster, in terms of the difference between stairmasters and step-ups, a stairmaster doesn't have the eccentric component that using a box, a step, or an aerobic step, or a bench does. All right. And what that means is it's not going to stimulate muscle growth as much, and it's not going to carry over to performance as much. So I'm not anti-stairmaster. I just nobody really has it at home. It does have its own limitations. Part of this program, I'm going to show you tons of variations you can do with the step up. You can't do nearly as many on the stairmaster, especially from a safety standpoint too. Like it gets tough, you can trip, you can fall, that type of thing. But I'm a big fan of it. And again, there's no better cardio, metabolic, and strength workout all in one than step-ups or stairs or hills. That's essentially what we're doing in this process. So before I get into more about the setups, the equipment, the best step-up you're not doing, the 3 programming pathways you can start using today, also some recovery tips to help you get the most out of this challenge, I want to quickly share, I'm a big fan of fitting things on one page, getting things in a minute, because that's how content works a lot. Some things you can't even post without it being less than a minute. But just to kind of simplify, I guess, step-ups for dummies, if you will, not calling you a dummy, but just cliff notes of this. Here's everything you need to know about step-ups in just 60 seconds, an exclusive video on our YouTube channel here.
Step-ups. The step-up is arguably the most functional lower body exercise. Consider it the hip-dominant sibling to the lunge, and it's also easier on the knees. Unlike the lunge, it requires you to lift your leg up, recruiting the hip flexors more. The ideal starting step height is where your top thigh is approximately parallel to the floor, or your box squat height. You can gradually progress to a higher box over time, but you should always be able to keep your back foot flat on the floor at the starting position. You should be able to do 10 minutes of continuous alternating step-ups before adding weight. To get the most out of this exercise, accentuate the eccentric phase by taking 3 to 5 seconds to step down. Explode up to maximize fast twitch fiber activation. Hold a pair of dumbbells for size and strength. Hold a dumbbell in either hand to increase core and hip activation. My favorite variation is the step up to reverse lunge for the best of both worlds. 10 to 20 minutes of continuous alternating step-ups is an amazingly mindless workout on days when stress is high and focus is fading.
All right, so there's a lot more than just what I just showed in 60 seconds. But again, if you're needing a quick reminder or just, simplifying this move, I'm going to talk for about an hour today about step-ups. All right, but in a minute, that's pretty much all you need to know to get started. And again, it's a movement I believe in. It's changed my entire body, specifically the legs, the hips, the glutes. And there's so many ways you can do the step up, which we'll break down in this program. So let's talk about the setups here. What type of equipment you need for this. And ideally, all you need is something you can step on: box, bench, step, ottoman. I'll talk about indoor, outdoor options. If you have a weighted vest or backpack to enhance the workout, that's great too. Or a light pair of 10 to 25 pound dumbbells, that's great too. But this technically can be done with just your body weight the entire time for almost all, for most of the routines. There's some things that do incorporate these pieces of equipment. But again, a lot of stuff people have it. You have a backpack, you can throw a weight plate or a sandbag or a dumbbell into, right? A lot of people have a weight vest at home too, or they have a light pair of dumbbells. And in terms of at home, what's the best step to use? Well, and I'm getting up here on YouTube so you can see. I do let me just point this down for a second here, get my big med ball chair out of the way. So I'm a big fan of the adjustable aerobic step with risers, right? Now, this is not going to have the same amount of stability as a wooden box or a padded adjustable plyo box type setup. But the beauty of this is I can adjust the height up or down a single riser at a time. And by the way, it's not just, there's no one way to do this step up in the sense that, higher step ups aren't always the best. They tend to engage a little more of your hip. They work your muscles through a bigger range of motion, but lower step ups have options too. And the stairmaster people will do, every other step to get more kind of glute, or they'll do every step to get more calf and quad. And the same thing applies too with low versus high box step-ups. It's not only a way to make your step-ups harder over time, building up to kind of ideally the top thigh parallel to the floor position or hip crease just beneath knee crease and go out from the floor like this. That's kind of a good 90-degree angle is kind of the ideal starting point, or one to use most often, if you will, when training a step up. But the beauty of this is I've got a way to progress it in terms of range of motion. I can also do my higher or lower options very seamlessly and adjust it to my exact limb length or leg length to make it work for me. But again, it's going to be a little more wobbly, like you're doing step-up jumps or heavier dumbbell stuff, especially if you're a bigger person already. You know, I would do more of the body weight, slower, non-jumping style of step-up on this. But the adjustable step-up box, the wooden box I have here, and again, if I'm going to get one, you're in the market for it, I go with the padded plyo one because, you know, you can still, just in case if you tripped or you're using it like around the house and stuff like that. The wood, it looks good. It pops more on video if you're using it for videos, Fitness Pro, whatever else. But the padded one, I feel like it has more comfort and a little bit easier in the body if something was to happen, a slip or whatever else like that. But the adjustable option comes in either 20, 24, or 30 inches based on which side you flip it on. So I love that from the standpoint of it gives me like 3 different ways to do my step ups, whether I want to go lower, higher, or if I'm incorporating a different variation, loaded, unloaded, that type of thing. So that's one thing to consider as well. The other piece is, and this is what's really helped me get the most out of my step up training over the past year, is incorporating slant boards. I'll drop a link in the show notes here where we get our slant boards. But this is a 20-degree slant board unit, and I've got 2 of them. And there's 2 particular setups that I kind of love the most. And this kind of gets me into the best step up you're not doing, all right? And I'm going to grab a stick. We're going to do a self-assisted. So just a quick note here. I've got a slant board down here, and I've got a slant board up here. And I'm going to elevate my toes on the down here to get more ankle mobility and stretch. And also, it's going to make it harder for my back leg to assist. So my top leg, the one that's actually doing the step, is doing most of the work. And then I'm going to elevate the heel of the top leg so I get more range of motion through my hip and my knee and keep my trunk more upright for a little more quad stretch. Because that's one thing we want to do on this too, is we want to bulletproof the knees. And I'm not saying I always use slant boards in every variation, but again, this is the one that I think is probably the best place to start for most people, because we're going to use the stick to self-assist, all right, which is going to give us a little more stability. I'm also going to be using a drag technique on my trail foot. So here we go. I'm going to using my right leg. And again, you can see right just here, by the way, one way to get involved with this challenge is just take a box or step or even a chair at work, and then hourly just get a leg up on the box, step, or chair. And look what I'm doing here, especially by incorporating the slant boards. I'm mobilizing the ankle and Achilles of the back leg. All right. I am also opening up the trail leg hip flexor. Gets me out of back pain and hip stiffness. Mobilizing, getting flexion of this hip, this knee, and also getting some motion through the ankle as well. And again, I can move around and stuff like that. There's no limits. But let me show you a repetition of what I mean. So this is the best step up you're not doing. I've been doing 20-minute workouts lately in preparation for this challenge, where I do 2 minutes of work on one leg, rest 30 seconds, switch sides, and I flow like that for 20 straight minutes. So we're self-assisting. I'm elevating the toes of the back leg or down leg, and I'm elevating the heel of the top leg. And again, especially if you have, tight ankles, a lot of issues with step-ups is people, when you get more of a hinge on a step-up, which is fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You get more glute hamstring work. But if I'm more upright with my trunk and I get more forward knee, I'm getting more quad stress. I like this from a standpoint of, especially as we're going upstairs and climbing and doing things like that, you want to be able to see where you're going. If you're too hinged and you're looking down, you're more likely to fall or trip. So that's one of the challenges too with this. So we're self-assisting with a stick, a pole, or a PVC pipe. I could also, by the way, if I face the other direction, I could hold on to a TRX and self-assist with my hands. So again, it's not cheating. We're using it to get more stability and allow us to really focus on improving our form and technique. So, and by the way, this could also just be a warm-up sequence. You do a couple sets on each side to warm up for your step up. So self-assisting, I got my slant boards in place, and then I'm going to add an eccentric isometric tempo. So I'm going to exhale up. All right. And now I'm going to be slowly incorporating a slow eccentric or lowering phase while using isometric stops along the way. So I'm going to slowly, and look at my foot here too. I'm going to be dragging my toes down the box for even extra stability. And I'm going to focus on tracking my head right over the foot, my right foot, the support foot. Here we go. I'm going to inhale down to about a quarter bend. Now I'm going to hold there, and I'm going to exhale out. I'm going to lower again with another inhale. There's another position about, I guess, the halfway point, and I'm going to hold it isometric while I exhale out. I'm going to go again. And right before my toes would touch, I'm going to hold again, exhale out, get my trunk up, I'm down, and reset. And that's a single rep. So there's a lot that went on right there. Why is that so impacting? Because one of the things I'm trying to have you guys do here is, right, this is one of my programming principles. If you want to do it fast, you must first be able to do it slow. I like to really apply the eccentric isometric component to any exercise I'm trying to master and really focus on, because that's where we develop the joint stability and muscular and motor control that allows us to then go fast and do more advanced explosive variations. The reality is it's harder to do things slowly. That's why everyone wants to rush through movements and do them very quick. I've seen most sets in the gym whenever I would go, they last 10 to 20 seconds. The best training sets I've done, they last at least a minute, and typically they can be 2+ minutes. And what happens in that case is there's extended time under tension, which is a way to build muscle and strength, by the way, but particularly muscle, stamina, endurance with lighter loads, especially with body weight. Way to make a lightweight feel heavy. You get a bigger bang for your buck. It's good for longevity, lower impact on the joints, easy to recover from. But again, there's you get enough repetition and time on the movement where you can really enhance your performance and own it. So we go really slow, and then there's these big sticking. There's 3 big sticking points in most movements, right? Including the step up. It's about a quarter of the way down, halfway down, and then just the point where you plop at the bottom. People are really weak in the bottom. And the one thing you'll find too, if you're weaker around the knees and the quads, you'll be weakest in the first quarter of the motion. That's actually where I'm the weakest, where I struggle the most. I've got arthritis in both knees from football injuries when I was young. I've had it since I was 21, but I've rebuilt my entire lower body. And I've also healed my knees with a lot of the techniques I'll talk about and share with you in the 28-day challenge. But the reality is I'm much stronger in the bottom range of a step up or a lunge or a squat, and I'm weaker at the top. That's why I've really tried to put a focus on my lower quads and also like spending time slowly going down and holding the position. So incorporating those both things, the eccentric phase is the stretching phase, the elongation phase, where actually studies show stimulate the biggest gains in muscle and strength. And also most injuries happen in the deceleration or stretch phase. So by being able to do it slowly and own that, you're actually adding resilience and fortification to all your lower body joints, particularly the knees, and adding those isometric stops, those sticking points, both up and down where you struggle, or maybe the knee wants to go in and out. You just focus on holding the position, tracking the knee over the second toe, if you will, keeping the head over the toe, fighting for your balance. And again, not only building strength at exact stopping point, but whenever you're training isos, you're also building strength 15 degrees above and below. So that is really, and again, what we did too is we inhaled, and then we stopped, and then we exhaled. The moment that full exhale was out, I start lowering smoothly again, inhaling it, and then I stop again. Exhale, and once that full exhale is out, you start lowering again. Inhale to the next stop, and again, particularly in that bottom half, don't plop. I see people when they do step ups. Big mistake I see commonly done is they'll step up out of control and they just collapse down, and there's no eccentric control, which means again you're rushing through the reps, and now you're just kind of hammering your body, and you're not really activating and using the muscles in the way you want to use to get the most results. So, that's kind of in terms of adding a weight vest or pack, that's a nice way also, again, like I say, train heavy so you can play light. I do a lot of weighted walks, and then occasionally I'll walk unweighted, and I feel like I'm so light and quick, and it's almost effortless. And especially when maybe you're shorter on time, and you can't do maybe a 20-minute or longer step-ups workout, you can do a 5 to 10-minute step-ups workout with a weight vest and have it be just as impacting because of the additional load. But you want to start with the weight vest. That is something that you can add in, at the 14-day mark, or even at the end of the 20-day step-ups challenge, which you can rotate through kind of indefinitely. But that's just one thing I wanted to get to you guys quick in terms of like a great place to start in self-assist. If I was using the TRX, to kind of quickly show what that might look like, I would just set it up so that if I was here, you guys can see me. I'll use the other leg so it's forward. Again, it's a little bit of a self-assist, all right? And I can step up, and then particularly on the bottom, as I'm trying to develop some strength and control, still using that drag technique. And again, if you don't have the slant boards, you don't have the slant boards. But it just allows me to just gain better control along the way. And, again, it's not cheating when it's the variation, all right? In fact, some of my best workouts, especially using body weight-based movements, come through self-assist because I can go for longer. I can really focus on my form and technique because it's not too hard, and I'm not getting, I can really own my breath instead of holding my breath and panicking or getting in fight or flight mode. So again, don't be afraid to self-assist, especially early on in this program. And by the way, many of these variations too, you can self-assist with a stick or TRX at any point if you find them too challenging along the way. So let's get into the 3 unique programming pathways with this challenge, all right? And number 1 is I've got, and by the way, this is a 28-day challenge on the Daily BJ site app. You get a free 7-day trial, see if it's the right fit for you. Cancel anytime. It's less than $1 a day at $25 a month to get this challenge, plus 1,000 plus workouts. By the way, ad-free access, first access, and exclusive access to all of my workouts and programs over the last decade. And obviously I have a bunch of stuff here on YouTube too with ads, but obviously this challenge and all my other stuff, the dailybj.com free trial, link in show notes. This is a great time to join us. Check us out. You'll get enough value in just this challenge alone, not to mention all the other, fat loss, muscle gain, mobility workouts I have. A lot of follow along stuff too, especially important for beginners because you get confused. You need to know what to do. I literally walk you through it step by step. Be sure to check that out. So the follow along flows. So I've got in this, 3, pathway 1, right? So these follow along flows, I've got 4 total flows. And these are progressive 10 to 20 minute step up focused workouts with both an upfront instructional component and done for you follow along section to finish. Each flow should be done at least 3 times per week, but you can do it mostly daily too. Again, I don't know how much time you have or how much you want to commit to this. I do want you to take at least 1 day off a week. Let's say that's Sunday, but you can do these daily. And part of what I have in terms of week 1, 2, 3, and 4, you do step ups flow 1 in week 1, the easiest version. It's only 10 minutes, more mobility focused. Week 2, it's step up flow 2, week 3, 3, week 4, 4. And they get progressively more difficult as you go through. And by the way, part of what you can do on the final, to do your 60-second step ups test, you could combine step ups flow 2, 3, and 4 for a 60-minute total workout. Again, so you can actually incorporate the follow along section if you want. And they actually just kind of get progressively harder, just like any good workout would. It ramps you up. But, this is for people that, again, they're going to do a step up focused workout. They're just going to do that only. They don't want to do anything else. Or, technically, and that's why I said beginners, this should be your workout of the day. If you're new to this, I don't want you doing additional workouts outside of this. You can always do some planking or push-ups or even hangs or pull-ups outside of it. That's fine. Or that EHO style every hour in the hour mobility work, that's fine. But if you're newer to this, this is enough to focus on. And I've got, by the way, throughout this year, I'm going to be doing a series of 28-day challenges. I think either next month is going to be hangs or push-ups. I'm not sure which one yet. So you can bounce to that. And then you maintain your step-up gains as you shift to something else. So I, by the way, I'm a big fan of that, especially for people that are trying to break into something in a new year or make a big change. If you have too many focal points, that takes your focus and it spreads it out too much versus laser focus on one thing, accomplish that, go to the next thing, and bring what you just built along with you. You don't have to always do everything at once. In fact, that can be overwhelming and create some paralysis by analysis, and just it's not sustainable for a lot of people. So I like the focus on one thing at a time. That's how I've achieved a lot of things in and out of the gym, because I have hyper focus, and when I can put it on one thing and really put all my energy and effort and heart into it, great things always happen. Then we can go to the next thing. Okay, so just a great approach. But advanced trainees, if they want, they can stack this onto their regularly scheduled workout of the day or do it on off days. So what I mean by that is, if you're doing one of your normal workouts, or you're a member of the dailybj.com and you're following one of our other programs, you could, well, I guess the choice would be yours. I always say do whatever whatever's most important, do it when you're most fresh and focused. So maybe you do one of these step-up follow-alongs and then do your full-body TDBJ, the Daily BJ, workout of the day. Or if you're not using the app and you're doing your own workouts on YouTube or whatever else, you can do the step-up workout and then do whatever you're going to do otherwise. Or, if you are typically doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday full-body workout schedule, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you're doing the step-ups challenge. See, that's how you can incorporate this. You can either stack it together in the same day or do it on off days. Just make sure one day a week we're off. You can walk, but make that more about recovery and just getting yourself mentally, psychologically, emotionally ready for the next week, because it gets harder on a weekly basis. So that's the programming pathway one, just using these follow-along workouts. And again, every follow-along workout flow, and you can watch on your computer, your iPad, your phone. You can go right through with it. It has a built-in instructional component that you want to look at first before getting into the main flow. But as repeated uses, you can also just scroll right into the follow along. They're as short as 10 minutes, as long as 20, never longer. And again, eventually you could stack these together and have a lot of fun too. The second pathway is using the 14-day EHO flow. EHO, I coined this term, every hour on the hour. In fact, this is how I do most of my quote unquote training these days. And it means every hour on the hour, you're doing at least a minute of something. And in terms of the step up, you're doing a daily step up variation for at least a minute per side, or 2 minutes total if you're alternating legs based on the variation. And you can see here too, I have a 14-day step up rotation. And you do that for 14 days, and then you come back through, and the final days 15 through 28, you just repeat that 14-day rotation again. The first weeks 1 and 3 have more of a mobility focus with the variation I'm giving. Weeks 2 and 4 have more of a strength focus. So it's just a beautiful blend. And if you're unable to do this hourly, again, obviously this works best for people that work at home remotely like me. I do my work, and then if you have an hourly alarm, or you just kind of get into the flow where you schedule it in, I can quit. Like this is, by the way, this is where I do a lot of my work sometimes. I got my computer right here. I'm recording on my computer, making a program, sending out an email newsletter, posting to YouTube. And then when I get stiff or tight, or the hour comes up, I got my box right here, and I do a minute per side or 2 minutes total. Anytime you're trying to do something important, you want to have your eyes on it, or be reminded of it, or it should be super easy and accessible. And by the way, you can bring a box, a step at home too. An ottoman works. Obviously, just be careful with adding, doing like jumping on that or holding weights, and do things a little bit slower on it. But any sort of table works. If you want to take this outdoors, you can use a picnic table. I go to fitness parks sometimes, and they have a variety of steps I can use and just have some fun as well. So you just want to make sure, like, make it accessible, make it something that you just really commit to. And, like, how can I build up to an hour of step ups without doing an hour every day or ramping it up? Yeah. So you could use a classic volume-based approach to this, where maybe in week 1, you're doing 10 to 15 minutes of step ups a day. In week 2, you're doing, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes. And week 3, you're doing, 30 to 45 minutes. And then finally week 4, you're doing, the full hour. That's fine too. But again, part of this EHO plan, like if you do an hour, do it hourly for 5 to 10 hours a day, you're accumulating a 5 to 10 plus minute workout that's helping you, and you're practicing, you're keeping yourself fresh. You're actually managing fatigue. You're getting a lot of repetition and skill practice on this. And, again, you practice at a higher frequency, and then you test yourself. People don't you don't just go, you don't practice in playoff mode to get into playoff mode. You'll be exhausted. You'll burn out before then. You're trying to ramp up for the test. I know you can do it, by the way, But especially if you're using the follow along flows and or using this EHO approach, which was using variation. So every day in that 14 days, you get a new variation. They start more mobility focused so that you can get your leg up and down off the box without putting any stress through your hips or back, have better form and technique, get better muscle activation, joint positioning. And then we start incorporating different variations that'll challenge you, whether it be different planes of motion, different tempos, different loads. You'll really enjoy this flow. These are like 14 of the most commonly used step-up variations that we use. People like that. If you're more of a variety-based person, right? Some people, they just want to do, by the way, you can do this too. You can just do step-ups. Just start adding, and I'll talk about the third option here is just starters or finishers, 5 to 10 straight minutes. Bookend, you take it and just start bookending your workouts with whatever step-up you want to do for 5 or 10 straight minutes. And it could be a minute per side, or alternating steps each way. So you don't have to worry about, counting that and just a simple countdown clock. You'll have great success with this. Think of it as just cardio leg starters and finishers to your main lifting or whatever workouts you currently do. I want to make this accessible. You don't have to do the exact way outlined. Just find a way to incorporate step-ups this month to boost your legs and get your cardio up and overall fitness, frankly. So, but this is a variety approach where every day it's something new and fun, and then you'll never have to do the same variation more than twice over the course of the 28 days. So that's kind of for the variety folk. Maybe you have exercise AD or you constantly need a new stimulus each day. That's a great pathway as well. And by the way, I think the best approach is using pathway 1 and pathway 2. That you'll get the most out of it because then you're getting, hourly practice mobility. So you're never stiff or sore and getting more repetition and frequency. And then you're doing whether at the start or the end of the day, based on when you train, a 10 to 20 minute step up workout as well. But you could also take this EHO style. If you can't find a way to drip it during your workday for whatever reason, because of where you work or however else, you could also just take that variation, as I mentioned in the video description and notes at thedailybj.com, and just basically do that movement on each side or alternating leg, whatever variation it is, for at least 5 to 10 minutes and up to 20. So it still can be turned into your own workout with a countdown clock or a stopwatch clock. And again, I set this up too, where all these videos are like 2 minutes or less each day. And I have it so up front, you see the movement quickly as a reminder in 5 seconds, then it goes right into me teaching and coaching it to you very quickly so you can get on with your work day. So I wanted this to not take a lot of extra time for you, but I wanted you to get some big impact in it as well. The third and final pathway is just challenges, right? And every week, by the way, the new challenge I introduced that you can do each day during that week, there's weekly progression there too. And these are 5 to 10 minutes if you want to make it that way. Again, you bookend your current workout with them. So I'm not asking you to change the way you train. People get stuck in a routine or they rely upon it and it works for you, phenomenal. But you want to burn more fat, you want to get more cardio and conditioning going, and you want to grow your legs more this year, this is a great way my favorite starters and finishers are step-ups and lunges for time. And I built up in both cases, people search the most for me, it tends to be BJ Gaddour legs. I see that when I'm doing my YouTube analytics and stuff like that. And people think I built my legs. I used to do back in the day heavy squats and stuff like that and deadlifts. And, I was proficient at deadlifting over 500 pounds and over 400 pound squats and stuff like that. But I started to see the biggest changes in my legs when I committed to doing an hour of lunges and step-ups. And I started with like a minute, then it was 5 minutes, and I built up to this. And once I could do an hour nonstop alternating lunges and step-ups, my legs were they had never been so strong, so muscular, and so functional. And the endurance I had in them, I felt like I could do anything, especially because when I started, a single step-up or lunge would give me debilitating knee pain. I had to really kind of go back to ground zero and rebuild. But it's worth investing in this challenge. It's going to change your legs forever. I promise you. You don't have to always do an hour of step-ups, but you'll have that ability to go to that, especially as step-ups become a part of your normal day-to-day routine ongoing as well. So I guess recovery tips too, before I kind of close out this challenge. A couple of things I recommend, all right? And I get nothing from this. I'm a big fan of the company. And by the way, some of the best customer support I've ever experienced in a company. Look, this is how I make a living. I make a living with my body. I make a lot of money over the years with my body. People depend on me. All my members at thedailybj.com, people here on YouTube, you depend on me. to get, mostly daily workouts and fitness ideas out to you. So I spend a lot of money on my body. I always invest in myself, especially physically, because of what I do. But especially as you get older, I'm 41. If you're over 40, over 35, you want to start investing less in training tools and more in recovery tools, right? Because you can't recover as fast as you used to. And you might have some existing injuries or pre-existing stuff you don't even know about. And so you step into a challenge like this. So a couple things I'm going to recommend. On the right, based on how you're looking at this, I've got a vibrating wearable heating pad. I literally put this on I have two of these. I put them on my knees. I even do some full workouts with these on. I'm getting vibration and heat. And that's critical pre-workout or even during the workout, just to keep a lot of blood and moisture and wetness into the joint. You don't need to wear them during, but it's one thing you can do too. If you've been working all day and you got a workout coming up, as you're finishing off your last 10 to 20 minutes of work, you put these on and it's warming them up. So it's better and quicker and easier to get into a good workout for the step up. And then I would, even if you don't have pain, again, you want to be proactive about your recovery, proactive about pain management, proactive about joint health. Heat before and or during, and ice immediately after. Okay, for at least 10 minutes, but ideally 20 on both. And Hyper Ice has these too. I basically can fill crushed ice as best any ice will work. You fill this sack with ice. It's got a pressure release valve. Once you put it on, that just shoots out all of the air, so it can be. You want the ice tightly wrapped around the whole knee. And so again, I can't recommend these enough. Even if you're not prone to swelling, but particularly if you are, because again, I've had arthritic knees since I was 21. It is what it is. It's not a matter of if they're going to swell, it's when. So I always try to stay ahead of that, because inflammation not only causes pain and discomfort, it shuts muscles down. Particularly that VMO lower quad muscle is shut down, and then it affects the way your patella tracks and cause a variety of issues you don't want to have. And then again, inflammation is just, it's a bad thing for a joint. It's a bad thing for your body in general, because it's like a cancer, if you will. It creates a bad environment for all the tissues in the area, beyond causing pain, discomfort. And once it starts to swell and gets, you get even more swelling, it can shut you down entirely. So heat before and or during, ice after. And you don't need to get these. You can get ice packs or just plastic. Plastic isn't good for the environment, but the most eco-friendly option, that's what's nice about reusable ice packs or refillable reusable ice packs, is that you don't have to throw things out. But get ice on your knees after proactively, so you don't have to deal with any potential inflammation, because even healthy joints will swell during exercise. And especially as you're building volume and intensity on this, and or your other recovery factors aren't going well, you're having a lot of stress in your life, that can lead to inflammation as well. So the other piece, daily leg elevation. Now you can put your legs up against a wall. You have an inversion table, like I try to use mostly daily. I'm upside down. That helps as well. And anytime I'm on the couch, I try to get my legs up on a ramp or elevated on pillows where the knees are above the heart, because I'm trying to constantly manage inflammation, drain the lymphatic system, any sort of edema that'll accumulate when you train your legs pretty hard for a long period of time. You want to get that out of there. So that's kind of and then you want to massage, try to be foam rolling and massage sticking or massage gunning your glutes, hips, your thighs and your lower legs whenever you can. Watching TV, Netflix and stretch style, pre-post workout when you can, 5 or 10 minute blocks, just to prevent excessive tension and tightness in those areas, which will end up causing joint pain. Most joint pain that isn't like a one-time injury, it's tightness and excessive tension in the muscles above and below. So when the knees aren't feeling so good, you got to look at the calves and the shins underneath and the quads and the hamstrings above. So just pay attention to that, and obviously get into those glutes big time, because even a softball or a lacrosse ball or a double peanut is great. I love this. And there's some vibrating options too, Therabody, which I like. But, massaging the bottom of your foot, your plantar fascia, is also important to do if you can, to help with just foot health and stuff like that. You're down your feet a lot during this challenge. But you can roll out any of the muscles in your body with this. It's cheap and simple to get on Amazon at a couple bucks. And a big part of if you feel excessive tightness and tension, just spend a couple minutes a minute or two on each tight area, or just, it could be as simple as I'm going to do my glutes, my quads, and my calves. Those are the areas you probably want to focus on the most during this challenge, as well, massage-wise. But use whatever massage implement you want. That's a separate podcast. But just wanted to touch on that because that's important. So you got 3 pathways. I've given you the recovery, and I've also given you, a really nice progressive program to help you get the most out of this challenge. So, in closing out here, this officially starts Monday, January 8th. In the year of our Lord 2024. You can start this anytime, whenever you're ready. But people like to start on Monday. And this is also like, we just went through the first week of the new year at the time of recording this, but Monday was technically New Year's Day. That's an off day. People are watching football, they're hanging with family and traveling or vacationing still. So I wanted this to start a full week after the new year, which it will in this case. Again, you continue to train the way you currently do. 3 different ways to get involved. And if you've never checked us out at thedailybj.com, again, free 7-day trial. It's only $25 a month, cancel anytime, and it's less than $1 a day. It's pennies a day to invest in your health. And again, you get more than enough value just doing this 28-day challenge, which is outlined for you within the site app. Plus, again, 1,000+ of my workouts, past and present, ad-free, first access, exclusive access. There's some things there I'll never share that you can only get through my app, many things actually. And then all, plans, various plans and stuff like that, complimentary to members, including my Gorilla Core Gains, my 28-day shred, all that stuff. But I'm excited about this because, I've done full year programs and people get amazing results on that for sure. But sometimes these short-term plans are a little more accessible to people, and people think, like a full year of training, I don't know how I'm going to find time to do it. But people can find the time for 28 days. I'm going to get a bunch of these out throughout the year. And the focus is going to be more on a particular exercise or skill than it is about a particular weight loss outcome or a number. Because you get better at step-ups and you can do it for longer and you can do more challenging variations. What's going to happen? The weight's going to come off. You're going to build in more muscle. You're going to be shaping up your body the way you want to be. All right. That fat's going to go away. Your cardio is going to go way up. You're going to want to move more and walk more. It's going to make walking a piece of cake. If you can do perfect step-ups, taking perfect steps is a piece of cake, right? So I'm really excited for this. I hope you guys join us in this challenge. If you don't want to take on the challenge, again, just start stacking step-ups for 5 or 10 straight minutes, pre and or post your main workout of the day as a starter and or finisher. Not necessarily every day, but use that to kind of, if you do like classical weight training or bodybuilding style, and you're not really getting a lot of sweat or heart rate up because you're so more local muscle focused versus systemic full body, great thing to add into off days, cardio days, and/or to your weight training, lifting focus. And if you're looking to just take on one of the 3 or more pathways that I've outlined here, join the dailybj.com site app, free 7-day trial. Link in show notes as well. And again, the step up it's a beautiful exercise. It's a movement that will allow you to get the most quality of life. And whether it be going outside, hiking, doing adventurous activities on vacations or weekends, or recreational sports. If you don't have the ability to take the ankle, knee, and hip through a full range of motion, and you don't have balance between legs, that's one thing we're building too. Nothing wrong with a double-legged bilateral squat, but most of us have imbalances between sides, strength, mobility-wise. We're going to fix that. So now the legs are even and lined up. You have one wheel that's off, it can affect your whole gait, which affects your pelvic positioning, which the lower back attaches into your pelvis. So that means that when your pelvis is out of shape, out of whack, so is your lumbar spine, lower back. And then it starts to affect your shoulder position. All right, so it really is like, let's make this the focus of January, all right? 28 days, progressions built into this. And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, a quick 5-star rating takes a second, helps us get out more of this information to good people like you. 10 seconds, 5-star rating, plus a quick review that says 3 words, BJ Podcast. That's all I need. I don't need a novella. I don't need an essay. Just a BJ Podcast. That helps us a lot. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. And if you're in the challenge, let us know in the comment below. But be sure to check out the resources in the show notes for things that we talked about in the episode. And get ready. This is going to change your legs. It's going to change your cardio. It's going to change your body. and it's going to give you some momentum you can build upon for the rest of 2024. Love you guys.